Brandon and I beg to differ with your estimation of the experience.
Well, beans. Are we really? We can do another hour on beans.
Keep it going. Yeah.
No, we'll go.
We did get a review from somebody that said they really love the podcast, but they don't like the opening part. So let's just keep this going.
Just to spite them. Sir, this is for you.
Southern Rock, welding, Rolling Rock beer, and beans.
Yep. That's the name of this episode, actually.
Master the principles of precision sheet metal bending at FMA's Press Brake Certificate course. In this 2-day course, you'll learn the fundamentals and the secrets to effectively working with press brakes while earning an industry-recognized certificate. The next session is July 31st at FMA's headquarters in Elgin, Illinois. Register at fmamfg.org.
Hello again. Hello to this episode of the Fabricator Podcast. I'm Dan Davis. This is my good friend. Well, he's a colleague.
Wow. I feel
make it sound like we've been hanging out for years.
We haven't, but we're better than just passing.
We're
friends. Yeah.
Okay, we're friends. Lincoln Bruner. I got your name right this time.
You did. Thank you.
You gave me time to think about it.
Thank you so much.
In this episode, we'll be interviewing Michael Taylor of Bueller Aeroglass about apprenticeships, and pretty interesting talk in terms of how they're helping young people in the North Carolina Research Triangle area find their way to a career in manufacturing.
I just think it's a great company name.
I hear Aeroglide, I think country line dancing. Let's do the Aeroglide to the left. Now to the right.
You're from Louisiana.
Yeah, sorry. So I mentioned Research Triangle Park area of North Carolina, and what you will not hear in the subsequent interview is a conversation about barbecue, which I wanted to bring up, but it slipped my mind. So we figured we'd kind of tackle that on the front end.
It's unfortunate we couldn't talk about that.
No, we could probably dedicate another series if we have anybody out there that wants to sponsor a barbecue talk with people who are
famous Daves.
Who are known to have consumed barbecue product, please let us know. But all right, just a simple question: favorite barbecue?
Oh, sliced brisket. Got to go to a place in Fort Worth, Texas called Railhead.
Mm-hmm.
Sliced brisket. They do it. They don't serve it wet or dry. It's just one kind, and it's delicious because they smoke it really slow. They've got a recipe that works every time, and they're not chintzy with it. They give you a lot, even on a sandwich. They're giving you more than you can eat, so it's really good. But if you get a nice slow smoked brisket and slice it up thick, I don't see how you can beat that.
Yeah, I don't mess with brisket because it's too expensive and I screw it up.
So what's your jam?
Probably ribs.
Oh,
but
yes.
I don't know. I try to do it at home just to give me something to do. I usually end up either undercooking or overcooking. The best thing about barbecue is you can eat your mistakes, and I have no problem doing that. So,
eat your mistakes.
Gareth, Brandon, any contributions?
I'm not a big barbecue guy, but there's a place.
You mentioned how much you love Sloppy Joe's.
But there's a place in Rockford called Arby's. No, I'm kidding. No, there's a place outside of Rockford called Smokin' Coops.
Oh, I've heard about that.
There? It's like right off Highway 20.
Picnic tables, right?
Yeah,
that is very redneck.
Yes,
it's very good.
Which means, we were talking about this before, that the crappier the place looks, the better the food is. The
better the eats are.
I mean, that's usually the case for any style of food.
Smokin' Coops is a place of local legend, though.
Yeah,
that place is legit.
Right.
Yeah.
All the picnic tables, like you said.
Brandon, you're from St. Louis.
How much time you got? I got a lot of favorite. I do love Pappy's ribs. Favorite ribs I've ever eaten.
Okay.
Still to this day.
What makes it good? Come on, we need details.
I don't know. Just fall off the bone, and there's sauce, and I don't even need their sauce on their ribs. No. Right off the bone, eat it right out the aluminum foil.
Yep.
So I'm not like, that's a big Midwestern thing to say, is like meat off the bone. I usually say this, like, if you wanted meat to fall off the bone, why'd you order meat on the bone? Right. And when my wife hears that, she takes a knife and lunges toward me.
Yes.
So
I almost did too.
Sorry to
Why don't you just order chicken?
What else? Go ahead.
Why don't you
You're
just
gonna-
order chicken tenders?
You're gonna go wax poetic for an hour.
So one of my favorite things that you wouldn't think is going to be amazing is a pork steak from a place called Beastcraft. Oh. They slow cook this pork steak for 16 hours. You can literally cut into it with a spoon.
Wow.
Belleville, Illinois.
In Belleville, yes.
All right.
It's
Why would you
it's
cut into anything
possibly-
with a spoon?
I'm not saying you should. You can.
You think they're
smells.
barbecuing those steaks separately, or they're doing the piece of meat then cutting the pork steak?
I think they're doing them individually. Yeah, I'm 95% sure they do each pork steak individually.
I think I've seen this.
'Cause
I've seen that guy, Steven Reichlin, Project Fire guy on public television. I think he made an appearance with that dude who did that, if I remember right. This is what I do when I'm actually doing barbecue. I watch shows on barbecue in between.
What makes a Texas barbecue experience complete, though, is when you watch them cutting it and chopping right in front of you, pulling it right out of the smoker, slapping it out right in front of you. A friend of mine, when I went to Railhead the other day, and I had a brisket about the size of a Volkswagen back there, and they were just chopping like crazy. It was just the fun experience of watching it done before you eat it. It's good stuff.
Do they serve sauce on in Texas?
No.
No, sauce to the side.
Sauce to the side, and if you need it,
Right.
maybe the place isn't worth going to.
Yeah. No,
Really
I
good.
get that. That smoked sloppy joes.
Smoked sloppy Joe.
I'm just trying to get Gareth involved.
Smoked
in
sloppy joes.
conversations. I don't know.
No, I like a good pulled pork sandwich.
Smoked
okay.
goulash.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you own a barbecuing device in your abode?
I have a grill. It's a griddle grill. It's like one of
Oh,
those
you have a-
Blackstones. Yeah. They're kind of a. What
What happened?
do you mean what happened?
How'd you end up with a Blackstone for somebody that seems kind of like meh on cooking?
It's easier to cook on. It's not great to have to clean, but
Oh, I
it's
see.
easier to
But
cook on.
that's not
You
important.
can do like breakfast, like
You do smash
hash
burgers?
browns. I haven't done smash burger yet on there, but
It seems like it's new. Is it new?
I got it last summer. Yeah,
Oh, you need to do smash burgers.
I got some time.
Yeah.
We'll have a Fabricator Podcast smash burger.
Oh,
Cook
at
out.
your
Roll
plate.
that puppy.
Yeah,
At your
Hook it up
house.
to the back of your car and just pull it down in.
yeah, right, exactly.
It's got wheels, right?
It actually comes apart pretty easy. So
Oh, does it?
It can carry it like a suitcase.
Huh.
If you need a carry-on item.
So what is your
Have grill will travel.
What is
Yeah.
your grilling device?
You know what? I just had to put my grill on the curb because it broke, but it was just a regular old gas grill. But I did a variety of things on there, like chicken and steak and what have you. But
Yeah.
it's, I'm not.
Brandon?
I don't get real fancy with it.
You grill?
I have one of those tri-grill things where it's gas on one side and then it's charcoal / a side smoker on the other side.
No kidding,
Ooh.
man.
So I
you're
like
complex.
barbecuing.
Wow.
Yeah. I've just got the gas charcoal situation. Yep. You gotta have both.
I thought you were gonna say George Foreman.
I do have one of those inside.
You still have a Foreman?
It came from my father-in-law, and the older I get, I don't want to be out in the middle of winter, so I'll throw my wieners on there. And we'll just cook those through, so I don't have to
And
go
the
outside.
Fabricator Podcast coming up.
Is that going to trip our YouTube overlords? Are they going to flag this?
I don't know. I mean,
you
do you
ever-
set it up next to your bed too, so you can get bacon
Have you ever
going in
burned
the
your
morning?
foot on
No,
a Foreman
I do
grill?
not go that far. So the question becomes, I've only got so much room in our pantry, and I'm kind of the last person on earth that apparently doesn't have an air fryer. So I'm trying to figure out like whether I can kind of like substitute that for the George Foreman.
I think most people have. Yeah. We've got an air fryer. We love it.
I'm not so you want to tell me this is what's tripped my desire for air fryer. I'm watching like once again in between barbecuing PBS on Saturdays because this is what if there's no football on, I watch cooking shows. And this dude took 2 cans of chickpeas, dried them off, put them in a bowl, put all kind of like spicy seasoning on them, slapped them in that air fryer, popped them, started eating them like
Popcorn?
yeah.
Really?
Oh man, I gotta get up.
You can put anything in an air fryer. You can put a like peanut butter and jelly sandwich in there.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
why would
really
you?
good.
It's really
It's
good.
really good.
No,
Yeah.
I think stuff
Yep.
like that.
Yeah.
You sound like Elvis.
So I was waiting. I was gonna wait for a range to die or a stove, but apparently it just won't. Because I figured I would just get like convection bake at that time. But someone's explained to me it's not exactly the same thing. It's not a 1-for-1 with air.
It never
fryer.
dies when you want it to die.
No.
Just unplug it. Es
We'll have to
muerto.
pilot light.
I have purchased 2 appliances within the last 6 years, And every time I do it, it's the wrong measurement. So they have to bring it back and redo it. I'm kind of afraid. I think I could go 3 for 3 pretty easily on the range.
Just buy a new stove anyway. Support the industry.
Before I buy you a range, I'll buy you a tape measure.
Well, the first one was I had measured the broken dishwasher, which had released water and warped our floors, and that is what affected the measurement. So when they came to put in the new dishwasher, the warped floors wouldn't allow it to fit. So we had to go with instead of a flush model to an ADA model, they called it, with the controls on the front. And then I had measured for the refrigerator. I had measured height and width correctly, but I didn't do the depth correctly. And it was stuck out too far, and it wouldn't open all the way because of the island. So I was almost right in that. Yeah, there's a conversation there's a point in our conversation with Michael Taylor where he's talking about cut once, measure twice.
Yes.
I'd measure 100 times. I'm still going to get it wrong.
I can't figure it out.
It's going to be a different measurement every single time.
I've cut this thing 3 times and it's still too short.
I know that like fabricators bitch about people who can't read tape measures, but man, that thing looks different every time I look at it. I don't know how they get exact measurements off a tape measure.
Well, because you don't start at the very end because like it's always worn out and
it's like it wiggles back and forth.
I hate that. Yeah. So we just did a story with this fabricator checking parts come off a press brake and had the digital calipers, and I'm thinking like there's like a digital tape measure. That's probably the tool for me.
I'm sure better. We can set you
up. Okay, with that maniac laugh, I guess we'll just go to we'll go to our interview now. Now I'm looking at baked beans recipes, which
I was going to ask about baked beans, but
just to go to barbecue, underrated are sides at a barbecue restaurant.
That's what I was going to bring that up because that's the best part of a barbecue joint. Like,
I'm not going to debate that. I'm kind of almost there with you.
Mac and cheese and the baked beans.
You ask me, I won't say the place where I live. I live like in Northern Illinois. The barbecue place we go to most, they have this fried potato salad where it's like fried potato. I don't know whether it's their fries or what they throw in there. That thing is, man, I could just eat that all day long.
I agree. I go to barbecue joints just for the sides then.
Really?
That's my take, yeah.
A little bit of coleslaw for me, and that's it. Because I don't want to fill up on sides. I want the meat. I want
so many different options, though.
Yeah, like I don't know. Like I enjoy barbecuing at home much more than eating it out.
Yeah.
So to me, like the sides are the stuff I'm not going to spend the time on. So that's where I find my interest.
Brandon and I beg to differ with your estimation of the experience.
Well, beans. Are we really? We can do another hour on beans.
Keep it going. Yeah.
No, we'll go.
Next time we'll talk about ice skating.
Yes.
And the next time, talk about
Rolling Rock beer.
Rolling Rock. We have a working
jewelry.
List. Yeah. Southern Rock, welding, Rolling Rock beer, and beans.
Yep.
And
a partridge in a pear tree.
Yeah, there's a lot of exciting things.
That's the name of this
the
episode, actually.
There you go. So enjoy this episode with Michael Taylor of Bueller Aeroglass, and please rate, subscribe, and review the Fabricator Podcast, even if you hate this. And we encourage you if you hate this.
Yeah.
Please write in.
Please do so wherever you get your podcast.
Spill your vitriol on us, please.
Thank you very much.
This episode of the Fabricator Podcast is brought to you by Fabtech. Registration is now open for Fabtech 2023. Join us September 11th through the 14th at McCormick Place in Chicago for North America's largest metal forming, fabricating, welding, and finishing trade show. Meet with over 1,300 world-class suppliers, discover innovative solutions, and find the tools you need to improve productivity and increase profits. Visit fabtechexpo.com to register today. And now back to the episode.
Hello all. Welcome to this episode of the Fabricator Podcast. I'm joined today by my coworker, Lincoln Bruner.
Rich.
I almost cost you the name of a former coworker. So that would have been awkward. Luckily, we're not taping this. We're joined today by Michael Taylor of Bueller Aeroglass.
Yep, that's correct.
And we're going to talk about the apprenticeship program at his company, and we think you'll really enjoy the conversation. One of the things I think everyone is experiencing in the metal fabricating industry is the inability to find younger people interested in joining the fold, not easily done, not widely available. And now in today's economy, a lot of different companies are competing for this talent. We wrote about Buhler Aeroglide way back in 2018. I remember when that wasn't so long ago. But we touched upon the article that you can actually find on the Fabricator.com actually addressed the first class you had.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you kind of coming by and helping us update this. First, give us an idea of Buhler Aeroglass. What does the company do?
Well, Buhler's actually a pretty good-sized company. It's a Swiss-based company from Switzerland, so it's actually family-owned. About 13,000 plus employees all over the world.
No idea.
But our unit, or where we were bought in 2008 by Buhler, we were Aeroglide originally, so that's where you get the Buhler Aeroglide. We make drying equipment. So, for example, commercial dryer equipment. It's a conveyor dryer, so they use it for cereals, pet foods, anything that needs the moisture removed. So we work with the customers to help them get a piece of equipment that will allow the product to come off the end with the right moisture content, and that plays into color, taste, if it's food or anything like that. So we work with them to get that so all their product can come off the end of the line the same before it's packaged for sales or whatever.
Yeah, and the company's located where in North Carolina?
We're right outside of Raleigh.
Okay. Yeah. And how long have you been with the company?
Longer than I would have bit.
We can leave it at that if you
We
like.
can also that'll be edited out as well.
It's my 23 years.
Oh wow! Congratulations.
So I started out as a welder and a fitter by trade.
Awesome.
So
You we were talking before we began recording this, but have been involved with the apprenticeship program at your company since the very beginning. Can you kind of talk about the early days and tie that in with North Carolina Apprenticeship Triangle? No, North Carolina Triangle Apprenticeship Program.
Yeah. What we did is Buhler was one of the founding companies. There were a couple of us. We all came together to create a consortium. So that's how we created what they call NCTAP, North Carolina Triangle Apprenticeship. So what that allows us to do is recruit together. So it gets us into the high schools. All our programs are a youth program. They're considered youth. So it gets us into the high schools easier. We're able to hit more high schools throughout the year for recruitment, trying to get the word out. So that's kind of what we did there. But each company has their own program registered with the state individually. So Buhler, if you look up their apprenticeship registered program, it's under Buhler, not NCTAP. So,
oh, wow. Okay.
So each program's their responsibility, but we do have some guidelines that are same, like we have a pay scale that all the companies are supposed to stay kind of within, so there's no competition for the students and things like that. So, it works out real well. I mean, and it also allows other companies to work well together.
Right. What was the inspiration for NCTAP?
At the time, it was I think one of the bigger factors was our HR director actually at Buhler's from Switzerland.
Okay. All right.
And in Switzerland, it's just common practice to go to an apprenticeship program. So I think he was tasked with coming here and helping start an apprenticeship program. So he was one of the driving factors. So that kind of is what inspired it. And I knew nothing about it, absolutely nothing, until he asked me if I would consider taking the position. So I started looking into it, and I did a couple trips. I went to Switzerland and saw how they did it there, and I just bought into it right off the start. So I think it's amazing. I think it does help the skills gap.
Yeah.
It's not going to help a company with immediate issues, but long term, it definitely helps. And I think our program has been very fruitful over the years. We have some real key players that have come out of the apprenticeship program and are really growing within the company now. So,
Michael, I'm curious, when you say, they're doing it right, what did you learn at the outset from the Swiss model that really kind of piqued your interest from the get-go?
Well, I think trying to get them as they're young. I mean, most of the Swiss apprenticeships actually start when they're about 15 years old.
Okay.
We're not doing that here, obviously. But today, a lot of the youth has just lost the drive or the want to build things, work with their hands, I guess I should say. They're more into the computers and technology, which I get. But at some point in time, you have to realize that stuff has to be made. And if we don't start training our youth, it's not going to be made anymore here. So we have to work with them. And honestly, the youth, I like to joke and pick about the youth today. I mean, I think we all do. The older guys do. You
Right.
know, reality
I never
of
say
it
anything
is,
like that.
Anybody under 40.
yeah, we like to joke and pick about that, but honestly, I've also found too that our youth today is actually amazing. I mean, the capabilities that they have to absorb information. I mean, I love doing woodworking that's my hobby at the house, and I decided one time I'd try doing a ebook. You know, I thought, I'll be out in my shed working and I'll have an ebook. I got 3 chapters in and couldn't tell you the first word that was said. Youth today, they can study for a test, listen to music, and have a movie playing in the side background. I mean, they just can multitask at an unbelievable rate compared to older people like me.
Right.
Older people like you, maybe. You can speak for yourself.
I'll speak for myself. I mean, I've earned every one of these gray hairs.
Yeah, I'm a member of that club as well.
No, so am I. Trust me.
So when you first started out, how many companies were involved in this NCTAP?
Lord, you're testing me that far back. I can't remember. I'm scared to quote. I want to say it was 7 at the time.
And how does that compare to now?
Well, we gained some and lost some depending on economy, business, all that stuff. That is one good thing about having a consortium as well, as we've been able to work with each other. So if something's kind of gone wrong with one company, we can step in.
Right.
They may not take apprentices, but currently right now we're at 7 advanced manufacturing companies and 9. We're a total of 9. We got 2 automotive companies, so we've expanded in automotive. And we're also in talks right now with 1 more automotive and 2 more advanced manufacturing companies now in the area. So we're hoping to go to, what would that put us at, 9 advanced manufacturing and 3 automotive. So put us up to 11 companies.
And how many schools do you target, or does the consortium target?
I lost count. I think we go to 6 different counties.
Okay.
Surrounding counties to my county that I live in. I want to say we probably hit about 80, 90 schools a year at least.
When you say hit, is that visits?
Well, we visit them.
Okay.
School visits, information sessions, things like that.
They're doing like a helicopter egg drop.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, what are they learning when they come in to Bühler? What's the curriculum like? What's the program?
Like I said, I predominantly try to keep them with me in that first year. They're usually 17 when they start, so they stay in their apprenticeship area. I actually have an area that's assigned just for apprentices, or I may have them in a department, obviously, because I can't handle all of them myself. So I do pick departments for them to work in. So they may start out in like the stock room, for example. They may be in shipping, helping gather parts up to crate. I try very hard to keep them in places like that. I don't put them in like our layout area with press brakes and stuff. I make them wait.
They're not welding right away?
No, actually they do,
They
but
do?
with me. It's in a controlled environment. A lot of people kind of question about the youth program and they get nervous about it. But the reality is, if you're registered with the state, your workman's comp will cover it. You have to think about it almost like driver's ed, for example. Right. Students can drive a car without a license, and it's the same principle as if you're kind of registered and you're educational, you can do that on site. So we do work with them on the welding, but again, I just morally, I'm going to keep an eye on them. I'm not going to allow them to do anything that makes me nervous.
They rotate through different areas of the company as well.
Yes, they do. So as they get older, obviously, then I'll rotate them. They will work in with the press brakes, the laser.
Sure.
They work. They work in design, customer service, because we have our degree that goes along with this is more. It was based off all the companies and something that would accommodate all the companies the best we could. So it's actually more in the manufacturing processes and mechanical design area. So any specifics they learn at the company, like in my case, it's the welding. If you go to another company, it may be CNC machining or whatever the company's based off of.
And there's a academic component to this as well.
Yeah, well, to me, somebody may not like this comment. There has to be an academic component. Apprenticeship is work and academics at the same time. That's kind of the draw.
Mm-hmm.
So where a lot of students come out of high school, they go to college, they get out of college, they go to look for a job, and the first thing out of somebody's mouth is, well, you don't have enough experience.
Right.
Or if you go straight into the working world and you decide at some point in time, I want to try to move up that ladder, well, you don't have the education. We try to do the best we can to eliminate that. So basically, when they get out of the program, it's a 4-year program. They come out with 4 years work experience, and then they also have an associate's degree through the community college.
That's fantastic. And when you get young people in, now you've been doing this for 9 years, what are they excited about? What do you find? What have you found to be of the most interest to them? Is it design? Is it welding? What are you finding out there?
Believe it or not, most of the time the welding.
Yeah, I believe it.
It is. It's the welding. Now at the end of the program, whether they get placed welding, not always, but they actually enjoy the welding. And I think it's great too, even if they go to go into our offices, let's say they do design or they're in customer service or something like that. Mm-hmm. It helps them to at least understand the process of how it was made. Sure. A lot of times you have somebody working in an office that's never physically touched anything or done any type of hands-on work. And we all know it works on paper, but real world, you got to account for some other things in there. So it allows them to understand that, and think about things also from the idea of how can we make this the easiest as possible, where somebody that's never actually done the hands-on work, they say, well, that works, we'll make it that way, but they don't think about what goes into actually putting it together, So I think it helps.
Yeah, I'm also curious about, how has this program evolved over the years? I mean, from the that conceptual thought to now you've got this really robust program.
Well, I mean, I have to think on it really, to be honest with you, just go through day-to-day life. But I think it's involved. One, I think the consortium is a lot better group over the years. We've become a lot more dependent on each other. I think the company itself has seen benefit, definitely. Our parent company, Bühler, obviously, they've got tons of apprentices. They've been doing it for over 100 years now, so they understand that. But in the United States, it's just not that common. So you have to get the employees to understand where's the benefit coming from this, and they're starting to see the benefit. I think the employees actually are asked to have an apprentice come over and help them. And then, like I said, we've had some apprentices graduate that have become really key players in the company, honestly. I have one of my first apprentices that graduated currently is on a 3-year contract in Switzerland now, learning about global supply chain. I have another one that's a North American super user for SAP.
Wow.
Currently right now.
So probably going to SAP conferences and things like that.
Yeah. So I've been pretty excited about it. And then I have some that are great contributors, on the floor welding, and I've got one that ended up maintenance. Again, our career paths for welding and assembly, but I do move them around because the intent is to have well-rounded employees. And I think I probably even might have quoted that back in when we did the article.
You certainly did. So I was going. That first class was 4.
Yes.
And you've had some years where it's just 1. And does that pattern still kind of follow itself today?
It is. I mean, I'm shooting for 3 to 5 this year. We, of course, obviously COVID kind of put a dent where we had to buy a year. So I mean, I've currently got right now 5 apprentices, and then I'm looking to bring in 3 to 5 this year, just depending on how the summer works out with them.
Okay. So if it takes like 4 years, you could have as many as like 20 in the building at one time?
I guess you could. I don't know that I'm prepared for that, but I mean, it could happen. I mean, I guess that's a possibility, but it does get hard to place them when you have that many apprentices. And again, I probably take my job a lot more personal than most people do, but I mean, I check on all the apprentices throughout the day. My phone rings 24/7, text messages. You know how that is. Yes. But I mean, I take it personal because it's my job to help these youth learn how to go from the high school life to the real working world, So, and I'm not going to guide them in a direction I don't think's good for them. So I take it personal. So yeah, to have 20 of them would be just absolutely overwhelming for me.
Do most of them get a sense of what this is offering them in terms of, after 4 years, I assume they'd probably get it, but maybe even early on?
I think they do. I think it's originally just kind of that idea, I think that's neat, I want to do that or whatever. Sure. A lot of times once the parents hear about it, no, the parents are usually right on board. I mean, to think that they're going to get a free college education, they're actually paid an 8-hour day to go to school, and they have full-time benefits. Parents are like, yeah, I like that idea.
Right.
But I do think over the years, working with the people on the floor, you're actually, seeing what real life is all about. You hear about it. Mm-hmm. They start realizing that, they're getting a jump start on life and they're being given a great opportunity.
Yeah. What's the greatest benefits, do you think? I mean, just your opinion overall to a young person getting in what's the earliest age they get into your program?
It's 16, 17, late 16 or 17.
So you're 16 years old. You're 16 going on 17, and you're getting into your program or another program in the consortium. I mean, what's the benefit? What's the potential benefit to a young person getting in, spending 4 years? I mean, what's the value proposition for them?
Again, I think it's the work academic mix. I think it's them being able to get the experience along with the academics. Plus, I mean, their college is paid for. It's community college. They get an associate's degree, but they can transfer that on and go to a 4-year college as well. We actually have a program with our apprentices. This is not part of the NCTAP part. It's just Bühler. But if they want to move on to the 4-year degree outside of that associate's degree, we'll pay 100% of it.
Wow.
For them accomplishing their apprenticeship. Takes them a lot longer, but they can come out with a 100% free bachelor's degree.
And are they signing up to be an employee of Bühler after that?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
They're guaranteed a job with us, and if they've made it through the program, they've stayed and accepted positions and start working. Like I said,
That's fabulous.
I suspect I'm gonna have one of them may come back and end up being my boss at some point in time, manager. I always kind of joke about it, but I'm an older guy. I'm not all about moving up the ladder anymore. And if he can come back and do that, then I did my job. I helped him become successful. So that's that's a winner for me.
Exactly.
Do you feel? Do you feel like a leader? Did you have a sense that you would be able to kind of touch these lives in the position you took back in 2013, 2014?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I'm helping out. I used to I love working my hands. Like I said, hobby work is woodworking in the evening time. I'm a welder by trade. But it does give you a different sense of accomplishment when you actually see somebody else become successful. So I can appreciate, I like that.
I think it's kind of exciting. I mean, you mentioned, the one employee that's in Switzerland, the other one that, is a super user of the software the company uses. I mean, there's no straight line in this field. You can find yourself doing a lot of different things and getting a lot of different experiences.
Well, what I always preach to all my apprentices, and I always have, life's what you make it.
Yeah.
If you come in and you put your best, efforts into something, you'll be successful. You just have to keep pushing. And like I said, if they want to be, my objective is my job is if they want to be a welder, I want them to be one of the best welders on the floor. I want them to be hopefully the supervisor or manager, if they want to, the one that's in Switzerland, he told me when he first came in there, he says, I'm going to be CEO eventually. I said, all right. And he's working his way,
look out.
I think it's really important to, explain to them it's what you put into it. If you want to work with your hands, we're going to make sure you're good at it. If you want to move past that, you can.
Is the product that Buhler Aeroglass fabricates kind of custom in nature, so it's kind of not the same thing? Or how does that work?
We used to be a lot more custom. I would say it was probably, I'm just going to guess at this, so don't quote me too hard on it, but I'd say we used to be like 80-20 back in the day, where it was 80% custom work.
Yeah.
We probably turned that a little bit over. It's probably now about 70-30 more standardized.
Oh, wow.
So
So more kind of a disciplined approach to creating something and then making it work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
So, it's all about, you can add the bells and whistles, and it's kind of like the car, you
Right.
buy a car, it's pretty much the same car, but what features you add in.
Primarily working with stainless steel, aluminum?
We're 100% stainless
Okay.
steel now. We can't remember what year it was we went away from mild steel completely.
Okay.
So we quit painting in the building, and we've gone 100% stainless.
No kidding. Wow.
What kind of bells and whistles can I get on a food conveyor system?
Do I now?
What kind of bells and whistles can I get on a food drying system? if I was ordering one today, you're talking about bells and whistles.
Oh.
Yeah, what makes it custom?
What makes it custom?
I mean, well, we used to build a lot more to fit the space, for the customer.
Right.
It's modular built, so all the modules are pretty much the same. I mean, we still do custom work.
Right.
At the end of the day, if a customer wants it, we're going to build it.
Mm-hmm.
But now we have modular that puts together modules, and then again, it just depends on the customer.
Yeah.
If they want different features in there, like the wash down bed,
Right.
or sanitation, extra sanitation stuff, or if the product has to be broke up, we may have to add extra lump breakers or what they call in there or something like that.
How big's the company now? Aeroglide.
Aeroglide itself, or the original Aeroglide. I want to say we're about 220 employees, maybe.
Wow, it's a
something
big
like that.
operation.
All in that one facility?
Yeah. Well, no.
No.
Field service and sales, I guess, are not in there
okay.
most of the time, but yeah, majority of us are in that facility.
Wow.
So, I mean, if you were to put on a recruiter hat or an ambassador hat for a bit, and you're talking to an OEM, much like yourself, maybe different industry, but same size, same position in their industry, what would you tell them about starting or growing an apprenticeship program like this, the benefits of it and the virtues of it?
Well, I do that quite a bit now, actually.
Okay.
But no, I think I think the company has to be willing to understand what it is. It's not a short-term fix; it's a long-term fix.
Got it.
But I mean, you're investing in your future. I mean, and if you have customers come in or something like that, what better to tell them than, we're investing in our quality and our future.
Right.
We're training these youth to come up and learn how to use the equipment, and most of all, we can work with them on safety procedures as they're coming up, so they're a little more safe. They're more accustomed to the equipment, and again, their quality. So I think it just shows for a company that they're willing to invest back into themselves. They care about their future. They care about the quality.
Right.
And I mean, most of the time companies understand that.
What's the smallest company within that consortium?
I'm not sure. We have one company that does mold injection making.
Mm-hmm.
We got the list of companies right here.
Yeah, I didn't know if I should list it or not. I would say, honestly, probably it's a company called Superior Tooling in Wake Forest. They're a very strong company, but they're smaller in size.
Well, yeah, I just, I've been in this industry covering it for like 20 years. In the Midwest, you hear some of the older people talk about, I went to tool and die school. I went in, some of them had apprentices, and the pathways were much more easily identifiable.
Yeah.
And to me, the NCTAP thing sticks in my head because I've never had conversations outside that one about other states, like formal programs. If they exist, I'm not aware of too many of them. Is that wrong?
No, they're starting to pop up a lot more.
Okay.
I mean, apprenticeship's nothing new, and even in the United States,
right.
It's been around a while. It just kind of faded out of the scene for a while. 4-year college came in, and
Right.
And like I said, I'm a big advocate of education. I don't care how you get it, but it's now becoming where college debt's getting kind of bad. It's hard to afford, and not everybody can go to college.
The best way to avoid it is not to pay it.
So I mean, you're having
That's a good point.
So you're having to look into alternative options, and again, as companies, we start realizing as well that we really need that hands-on. We've been saying for years there's a skills gap. Well, there is, and it's starting to catch up with us now.
And you're putting skin in the game. I mean, every day. So
absolutely trying to.
Absolutely. So when you got a company that's maybe on the fence about it, you've clearly delineated the benefits. I mean, well, how do they get started in this? I mean, if they're not in North Carolina, if they're not in the NCTAP area, how would you get started with something like this?
Yeah, I believe every state probably has some sort of apprenticeship
initiative or something.
Yeah, most of them do. I would believe. I mean, for example, for us, apprenticeship in North Carolina is under the North Carolina Community College, which is so. We would reach out to them to work on getting our program registered. If you can find a consortium, that's the way to go because they've already done it. I mean, we help companies when they join up with us. We'll work with them on getting registered with the state. We help them get their schooling figured out with the community college as well. So I'd just say look into it. But there's usually some sort of state representative or person that can come and meet with you and help you get started.
You don't need to recreate the wheel. Most likely, it's something already in existence.
Yeah, I think most states are that way.
Do you communicate with other like consortiums in other states?
Well, we have a lot of different. We have more consortiums right there in North Carolina. I do actually communicate.
Okay,
we help start
in-state.
some of them. Different counties. We have another county right over from us called the GAP program. It's Guilford County. And we work with them occasionally. We actually help them get started. And
You're like Johnny Appleseed. You're planting seeds on the.
it's to benefit everybody.
Right.
I
Yeah,
mean, I love my company. Bueller's a great company to me. It's been a good company to me. Been there 23 years, but I'm also thinking about our future for everybody, honestly, and we have to consider that. If I can help a youth get going in this world and get started on a good path, I'm all over it. That's a great idea.
Yeah. Are people more aware of it in terms of not only maybe the parents, but maybe some of the schools you visit? As people have come back to school and tell them what they've been involved with.
Well, they're becoming. It's becoming. It was very difficult in the beginning with recruitment and all that. But a lot of the CDCs, the career development coordinators in the high schools, they're starting to get a lot more on board. They're realizing that these kids need other alternative paths. So I mean, I personally work with about 9 schools.
Yeah.
And they'll call me every year when it gets to recruitment time. Are you coming out to see us? Now, I don't have to call and send them 50 emails begging them to get me in the door. Nice. So it's getting much better.
It's taken a while though.
It has.
Yeah. I think it kind of coincides with my wife's in education, and even at her school, the term used to be college prep. Now it's career readiness.
Yes.
To be a little bit more universal, and frankly, it probably made sense to use that from the very beginning because really a career. You don't really need a 4-year degree to do everything.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think it takes all kinds to make the world go around. I mean, obviously, I don't want a doctor that would have only a 2-year degree working on me, if you know what I mean. So, I
went to an apprenticeship program. I know how to cut people open.
I've seen enough flicks where the bad guy always just goes to the veterinarian to get a gunshot wound healed.
There you go.
Count me in as veterinarians to do surgery on me. I'm all right with that.
But I mean, it takes all kinds to make this world go around. Whether it's the 4-year college, whether it's the associate's degree going into community college, or whether it's an apprenticeship and combining the two, or even going straight into the workforce. I just believe you go out there, you work as hard as you can.
You do a LeBron James, just go right to the big leagues.
That's exactly right.
Well, I know a lot of lately the enrollment rates for 4-year colleges have gone down. Have you seen any tick up in the interest in the apprenticeship program that you offer?
This year, yes. Prior to this, like I said, we kind of had the COVID hiccup.
Right.
That made it a little bit challenging for a while. We couldn't get into the schools to recruit. But this year, the numbers were actually up. I'm trying to remember exactly. I didn't look at all the numbers, but I want to say we had like 70 or so students sign up for our summer program.
Okay.
Wow.
Because the summer program's kind of part of the application process.
Okay.
So they come in for 6 weeks in the summer. It allows them to see what we do and allows us to work with them.
Wow.
And then at the end of the summer, we decide if they want to stay and if we want to keep them.
Yeah.
And then it starts the 4 years.
There you go.
So yeah, I would say numbers were up definitely this year.
That's cool.
Do you compare notes with maybe the Bühler people in Switzerland in terms of how they approach apprenticeships, or is the context totally different and that type of conversation maybe wouldn't
I actually do work
benefit?
pretty close with all of them. I have our North American head office is in Minneapolis.
Oh, okay.
So I have a weekly meeting with my counterpart there.
Wow. All right.
It's like a different country from North Carolina.
I'm all right with Minneapolis, just except for in the wintertime. But I probably have the same problem with y'all if you want to know the truth. It's a little too cold for me. But no, I mean, and then, in Switzerland, I have a couple of counterparts there. I mean, I've been there 3 times. They've came over and helped me get started as well. It is very much based off the Swiss model, but again, it's U.S. culture, so we've had to adapt a little bit.
Right.
Their infrastructure has been around for a long time. I mean, where we're having to work with what we have. So, like, for example, the community colleges, it's can be challenging there. In Switzerland, they have schools just for apprenticeship.
Right.
That's what they're for. Here, we have to get into the community college, and if it takes about at least 11 or 12 students to justify a teacher, at least in a community college for a specific class. And we ask them to do it in one day where all their seated classes are in one day. That's probably one of the bigger challenges of getting an apprenticeship program is getting the school curriculum to match with the work.
Gotcha.
Do you think the U.S. structure needs to do a better job replicating the European structure for apprenticeship programs?
Well, I mean, of course, that would obviously be nice if we had that that infrastructure in place.
Right.
But I would say that the community colleges, I mean, right now we work with 2 different community colleges. They are really trying to embrace apprenticeship big, at least in our area. They're really trying to embrace it. So they're getting better. It's just still, again, it sometimes becomes a numbers game, and there's nothing you can do about that,
Right.
So, but they're getting better.
I know you mentioned some of the differences between like the Swiss model and the U.S. Having been to Europe to see some of these operations over there, just in terms of the way they dress the kind of the tech people. I mean, you mentioned it's like surgeons. they come
The white coats and
a little bit like that. It's just the dynamic between the two is pretty interesting.
It is. It is. Like I said, my apprentices, I mean, we have work uniforms, obviously, if they want to wear them. But yeah, in Switzerland, they all have their uniforms. They all perfectly match. And,
Right.
and they're nice. And, like you said, they've had a long time to build their programs up. So, again, I think everything would match, Europe? No, obviously not. But we definitely could strive to make our program a little bit
I think
more
they
robust.
they even have their own challenges in terms of trying to find people to enter their industries, correct?
Not as much on the recruitment side. I mean, because it's almost standard that
Some
youth
people
go to
go
apprenticeship
through the
program
And they're
there.
slotted early, like you were saying.
Yes.
You're going to university to study law. You're going to be in this apprenticeship program because that seems to be more your aptitude.
Yeah, well, and I mean, I think most of them go to apprenticeship, and then later on they'll go to what they call finishing school, I guess, which is like college. But yeah, I mean, I found out that, when I visited over there, of course, everybody would be on their best behavior because the American was in the classroom,
They're looking at you to cut up. That's
like,
what it
who's
was.
this guy? Why is he here? And over the years, they do run into the same problems with, just different thought processes. The youth, still at an early age in life, so their decision making sometimes is a little bit skewed.
A little shaky,
a little shaky every once in a while. I didn't see that at first, but it is there, just the same. So yeah. But
where do you see your the apprenticeship program heading? Maybe for your company and maybe for the area.
My company, I feel pretty strong that it's going to stay there, just because again we're Swiss based. So I'm not too much worried about that. I would like to see. I'm now chairman of NCTAP.
Congratulations.
It's a challenge sometimes.
Comes with a medallion or
I'll
something?
take it. I would like to see the sustainability of it become a little bit better. I'd like to see it where I know we're leaving something behind that can be there for the long term for the youth to be able to have an option. Like you said, I'm all about options.
Yeah.
Apprenticeship's not going to fit everybody, just like 4-year college doesn't fit everyone, but to have as many options as possible, I think that's important. And apprenticeship is just one of those options, one little piece of the pie, I guess, or puzzle, or whatever you want to say.
You just want to develop that as much as you possibly can.
Right, and I want to see it for the long term, where I know it's going to be there probably long after I'm gone.
Well, yeah.
Then I'll be successful. I'll feel successful then.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like an exciting opportunity, not just from the standpoint of getting paid, getting the degree, but you're being exposed to a lot of different things, and to me, that's one of the benefits of working at an organization that allows you to do that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you could spend years trying to find the same type of interaction or introduction to different parts of businesses. So
and you're also introducing them to real world problem solving right there. And giving them latitude to fail underneath supervision.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. They have to learn, and and what is it they say? If you don't mess up, you're not working. I guess is the old saying.
Right. But that's fabricating, right?
I have to really get that rule about measure twice, cut once.
Yeah, some of us never learned that.
But the real ironic thing about it is, though, honestly, I learned just as much from them, if not more, than they learned from me.
Yeah.
The youth today. I'm an old guy.
Yeah.
They can help me out here.
My kids
and then, of course, I go hollering at them when I've got a technology problem. I'm like, come in here for a minute.
Is the program introducing more automation skills, or?
Yeah, some of the programs are definitely. I'd say we're probably going to be heading in that direction, but right now, again, it's mostly just for welding and assembly. So we haven't gotten into the automation, but their school part element has automation in it.
Thank you for your time today, Michael.
It's been a pleasure, Michael.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Please rate, review. What else was the third one?
Subscribe. You can subscribe, yeah.
We went to every other week schedule with these releases, so I'm not in practice. Also, if you have an idea for the podcast, comments for the podcast, send it to the Fabricator. No, damn it. Podcast at thefabricator.com.
Yep.
Yes. What else could I screw up?
Take two.
We got to ask one of the apprenticeships kids if they know how to read an email address.
You may ask yourself, how do I work this?
Do you have an apprentice who would be a good host for a podcast? Send us a note. Or even if you have a good idea for a show, let us know. So thank you, Michael. Thank you, Lincoln.
You're welcome.
Not the former coworker I originally thought.
I am Rich Burnett.
And we'll catch you next time on the Fabricator Podcast.
See you later.
The Fabricator Podcast is a production of Fabricators and Manufacturers Association, located in Elgin, Illinois. The show is hosted by Dan Davis and the staff of FMA Communications. The podcast is produced by Gareth Slager and recorded and edited with the help of Brandon Geyer. Sales support provided by Andy Flando. Additional production support by Elizabeth Gavin, Dana Weicker, Mary Diamond, Mike Owens, and me, Sarah Spring. Thank you for listening.